Have you ever wished for a world of perfect purity? No sickness, no decay, no bacteria? Be careful what you wish for, because for the next 24 hours, that wish becomes the grandest nightmare. This is not an act of war. This is an erasure, a war against the very concept of return. When the invisible gods that run the world vanish, every biological machine from the micro to the macro simply stops. And humanity, the self-proclaimed masters, would realize their entire civilization was built on a foundation they never even saw. They are the invisible architects, the great recyclers, the tireless foundation of the great cycle. They are the alchemists, turning matter into life, creating flavor, and guarding the gates of nourishment. But in the vast, silent cosmos, balance is a fragile, fleeting thing. A nameless power, a thoughtless purpose, a single cosmic command: erase. Its target was not rock nor stone. It was aimed at the lowest, most fundamental rung of life itself. Hour zero. The great sterilization has begun. Every ancient pact between life and its smallest servants has been broken. The lungs of the planet begin to hold their breath. Our invisible armor, worn for millennia, has just been stripped away. The apocalypse does not begin with a scream. It begins with a quiet internal unease. The engine of digestion, one of creation's greatest marvels, has just seized. Across the globe, the world's great grazers face the first death sentence. Death has lost its meaning. The promise of return to the earth is now a lie. Purity becomes a curse. Our own systems of cleansing, now rendered utterly obsolete. An industry thousands of years in the making dies in a single hour. Medicine now faced an enemy it could not name, could not see, and could not fight. The planet was embalming itself, becoming a crystal statue, beautiful and dead. It was the question all of humanity was asking, but the universe offered no answer. And so the real war began, the war against starvation. Humanity launched its first counterattack, a desperate attempt to play God in its own dying fields. But it was a futile war. You cannot replace a system that has been perfected over 1 billion years. The second front opened in the heart of our data fortresses, the war against suffocation. A frantic race against time to build a mechanical lung for an entire world. The Third War erupted in an unexpected theater, the very sources of our power. The systems were kept clean by an army of the unseen. Now, without their guardians, they choked from within. The silent heroes of the modern age fighting a battle to keep the lights on, one clog at a time. And one by one, the great citadels of civilization began to fall. The Fourth War, the oldest war of all, the war for what little is left. Food was no longer a joy. It was merely fuel, a cold calculation for survival. A great aquatic desert, its impossible beauty was the very proof of its death. The gentle giants of the sea were starving in a world suddenly empty. The Earth was turning itself to stone. The planet began to fight back, not with life, but with the dead fury of matter itself. We had awakened the planet's primordial rage. The sky was no longer blue. It wore the color of ash. Even climate change was suspended, replaced by a more immediate, silent apocalypse. The fundamental laws of chemistry and physics themselves seemed to fray at the edges. Humanity had fought. Humanity had lost. Now there was only the waiting. A planet on the absolute precipice of a mass extinction event. Even the harbingers of death, the great cleaners of the natural world, were now unemployed. All of history perfectly preserved with no one left to read it. The final battle, not to save the world, but to save a single fading echo of it. A symbol of mankind's stubborn life, or merely a final beautiful illusion. Two worlds, one dying, one desperately pretending it isn't. 24 hours were almost over, but the end of what? Of life, or of the disaster itself? Ten. 9. 8. 7. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. 1. Time's up. They have returned. A miracle. A salvation. No, not salvation. A different kind of judgment. 24 hours of decay compressed into a single horrific moment. The great decomposition had begun. Every living thing had become a ticking biological bomb. The mountains of our own waste became volcanoes of poison. The surface of civilization was attacked by the filth it had buried. The ocean was no longer holding its breath. It was exhaling a toxic soul. The atmosphere of life was being replaced by the atmosphere of decay. The return of life delivered the final killing blow to the global power grid. The age of light was over. In the heart of the destruction, the seeds of a terrible new genesis were sown. But this new world would no longer be a human world. purity. We had it for 24 hours. And the price was a cleansing by fire and by rot. Humanity was not extinct, it was demoted. A new order was established. Artificial life, confronted by a wildness it could never comprehend. The cycle had returned, more brutal, more powerful. Life will find a way, it always does. A chapter of Earth's history had just been closed. Humanity had to learn everything again, in a world that was no longer built for them. The greatest disaster was not the disappearance of the bacteria, but the arrogance of believing we could exist without them. We broke the covenant, and nature wrote a new one. The new generation would be raised on a cautionary tale. Of the silence and the symphony that followed. This was a speculative disaster, but the question is real. Just how fragile are we? How do you think humanity would adapt in this new world? If you enjoy exploring realities that challenge our own, next on Speculative Disaster. What holds us to the ground? Silence.